So fun.
Greetings and a very warm welcome. This is the 10 o'clock news from the EV Café, brought to you this week by the ITT Hub, transport home of technology, thought leadership, strategies and solutions. Featuring the EV Café, and I'm still John Curtis. Today I'm joined by our special reporters, and yes, it's all of them. Sam, Sarah, Johnny, Paul, full set. Now then, grab a cuppa, plug in for the latest in clean transport and sustainability news, because today is gonna get fruity. It's Fruity Friday, and we're talking about EV sales and costs. It's a thorny issue, or is it just about how information's portrayed? I'm going to read a story verbatim that appeared from some research from Auto Trader, and frankly, there ain't no story there. Carrot and stick in Cardiff. Oh, sounds fun. Grid balancing is the way forward, says My Energy, and we agree. Now then, what's going on at JLR, Jaguar Land Rover? Dragging their heels? I think so. And the government is still alarming. Anyway, let's move on. Before we do, who's in the house? Let's see. We've got Michael Barton. Michael, greetings and great news on the job. There's a mug coming to you, my friend. We decided that because you got your new job, we are sending you the EV Cafe mug. So, stand by. Varun Gandhi, hello. Chris Carpenter from EV Civil Solutions, your net zero civils provider, working towards net zero rapidly. Good man. And Sarah Sloman, whoever she is. Steve Hamer, morning Steve from Café. There's lovely. Jim Blair, morning my dear chap. From sunny Scotland, LinkedIn user, thanks for commenting. Jacob Hunt, is that real? Lee Etchells, good morning, my dear chap. Ashley Craig, Richard Malarkey. Oh no, it's Richard Markey. The Malarkey's our job. Shall we get on with it? Right, okay, here's the news. The electric vehicles. Now, I'm going to read this absolutely as it appeared online because, it's so full of issues, it's untrue. Sam, stand by to froth. The electric vehicle share of the retail market is falling behind where it needs to be to meet the government's 2030 targets, new research suggests. With low benefit in kind tax rates incentivising company car drivers to make the switch to electric, the government is being urged to incentivise the retail sector. Research from Auto Trader suggests that while consumer demand for used EVs is robust, buyers' interest in new has dropped by almost 2/3 or 65% since the beginning of 2022, due in part to the rising cost of living, higher borrowing costs and the hike in energy prices. The market for new EVs, says Auto Trader, is still hampered by a lack of affordable choices, with the number of new electric models between 20,000 and 30,000 decreasing. Okay. On average, a new EV costs around 37% more than a petrol or diesel alternative, a figure that has not changed since June 2022. Oh dear, 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 dear. A new report from Auto Trader, The Road to 2030, shows that lower fuel prices and higher energy bills is eroding the previous EV advantage of lower running costs. And there are some numbers. Whilst electric car owners with a home charger can save up to £130 for every 1,000 miles, you need to grasp that figure. 130 quid for every 1,000 miles, that's huge! By charging at off-peak overnight rates, savings reduced to just £40 per 1,000 miles for those drivers using slow and fast chargers. And for drivers using ultra-rapid chargers, EVs currently cost £16 more to run per 1,000 miles than conventionally fueled vehicles. Really? Really? There's such a divergence in the amount of pricing on ultra-rapid. Sam, there's lots of issues in that story, and I read it verbatim to kind of just show how things are positioned in the press. It's a load of old cobblers, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know where to start. I mean, there's not all a load of old cobblers. There's some definite logic in there, but there's also this very, a good lump of sleight of hand and misinformation as well. I mean, for the one thing, recessions are cyclical, and therefore we're in one, and we've got a European war and COVID and all the rest of it is all putting a pressure on all economy in all areas, and obviously EV is equally as suffering as every other marketplace is. So it's not just about the EVs in particular, but it's also the wider agenda. But I mean, I don't know where to start. I mean, certainly the fact around EVs currently being £16 more to run per 1,000 miles than conventional fuel vehicles is nonsense. So we'll just dismiss that. And it's very, very sensitive to the prices you pay at the charges as well, of course. So that without that context, it means nothing. But there is a point in there which I think I will raise, and one because of personal experience, is that the discrepancy between public charging and personal and charging at home remains vast. I mean, it costs me 7.5 pence a kilowatt hour to charge off peak. There's a new rapid charger, which I hasten to add is not a GridServe one, just around the corner, which is 98 pence per kilowatt hour that I can get access to. And it's only 100 yards away, but it's 98 pence per kilowatt hour versus 7.5 for effectively the same thing. Now, obviously, there's huge costs associated with high power charging, which needs to be recovered, but the discrepancy in that price is not acceptable. So we've got to find ways of solving it. So I mean, I could talk for hours on this one. I won't, and Paul's put his hand up anyway. But it's a very provocative starting point, I think, for the news, John. It's really interesting.
Great froth there, Sam. Thank you, Paul.
Well, it is, and I mean, Sarah's put a comment as well, but these are the conversations that we are having. The difference in home charging, and not everybody has an overnight tariff. So, you know, it does bring that gap, and yes, it's possible to do that, but, you know, with the energy kind of crisis. But one thing that's really clear is that the used values of electric vehicles is coming tumbling down significantly, not helped by actions of Tesla, but it's not just Tesla, and it is impacting both commercial vehicles and cars. And every time the residual value is reduced, the gap widens in that total cost of ownership, or the write down cost that you have to write off over the period. So it becomes more expensive. There is a real challenge, and support is needed for used vehicle prices as well as the new vehicle market.
I would just like to add to that, Paul, and say that, yeah, if you're lucky enough to get a company car, then as we know, the benefits far outweigh driving an ICE or a hybrid for that matter. Benefit in kind alone is enough to make you drive an EV. Not to mention all the amazing tech that you get for your money. But what's more, after 3 or 5 years, these cars will end up in the used car market, making them more affordable for the rest of us.
And the one interesting thing for me is always salary sacrifice, where costs are significantly lower, and really is a way of getting into the EV market. So if your business runs a salary sacrifice scheme, that's the way to go, in my humble opinion. Want to say hello to a few people.
Please do use GridServe to do that, by the way. We've got the SME market tailored, so by all means give us a shout and we will deliver.
You do salary sacrifice at GridServe?
Yes, we do. And Laguna do it for big things as well. So between the two of us, we've got the whole market covered.
I just want to go back to the price piece. We can't move on from the price without mentioning the VAT. That has got to be a difference. I was on the Faster Projects webinar today, on Wednesday, with Ewan and others, and it was great because we were really picking apart the fact that I think there's a huge hole missing from the road tax that an internal combustion engine gives us, and that as a country with the future economies is a scary number. I think it's 17 billion that has to be found another way, and I think the government are slightly sort of sneakily thinking, oh, public charging fleets at 20% at a public charger versus 5% at home. We're already reaching that level where we know not everyone can charge at home, and that's accepted. So the price isn't always just about the fluctuation between 98 pence at that rapid charger and 79 pence at that rapid charger and 52p at that rapid charger. The ethos of the webinar on Wednesday was much about it just being visible, knowing what you're paying and planning for it is how you can make it affordable.
There's apparently a million EVs in the UK at the moment, and I get this suspicion that we're not all coming together to bring pressure on the government to make these changes. And if we were just a bit more coordinated, we could do that. We need to have a voice, a proper voice that has that place in government. And Edmund King, we need to talk to the AA about this, I think, and start another campaign. But anyway, let's move on. I want to say hello to some people. Sebastian Fleischacker from Spiri. Sebastian in Barcelona. Hola. Spiri. What does Spiri do? Paul, what does Spiri do?
Spiri they provide a great software tool to help manage charging and also a lot of the other experiences around the electric vehicle ecosystem. So it's a fantastic thing that they do in terms of their software. Sorry, my
amateur.
Phones, damn it! But yeah, they do a great job. They do a great job for the electric vehicle ecosystem.
We've also got some royalty in the house. Philip Not Hard from Cox. Amazing to see you in the room. Neil Mumford, Leon Gomez, Neil Ponting, Nick Ansell. Lots of N's today. Colin Hennessy. Greetings, Colin. Hope you're well. Darren Anvona. Big up for GridServe salary sacrifice. Can't argue with that, can you really? Carmen Snowden. Now there's a fabulous name. I think that needs a ladyship. Lady Carmen Snowden.
Carmen is such a lady. She's one of my best friends. Hi, Carmen.
Well, bless you. There we are. Now let's move on. The EV Rally of the UK kicks off in July, and we're kicking off in Cardiff, and Cardiff are doing some very interesting things. Cardiff Council's considering introducing a congestion charge to improve air quality in the Welsh capital. And this is the important bit. It's part of a plan which would include an expanded bus service with cheaper £1 fares, a new tram network and enhanced regional links. It's actually a strategic transport policy with investment to boot. No details of how much the vehicles will be charged or where the charging zones would be have been implemented at this stage. However, if given the go-ahead, the scheme would take up to 5 years to implement, and that is painful. And I think it sends a message out to other municipalities and other areas of our country that if you're not planning with this strategic transport approach, right now you're going to really struggle to bring in congestion charging because you're not taking everybody with us on that clean journey. Cardiff Council leader, Councillor Hugh Thomas, a very Welsh name, said, before any such scheme was introduced, we'll clearly have to make improvements to the current transport system so people have options to reduce their reliance on the car. We would need better, enhanced and cheaper bus routes alongside improvements to regional commuting options and visible signs of a new tram network in the city. Brilliant case study, I think, could come out of Cardiff, similar to that we've seen in Nottingham. An approach that makes sure that everybody benefits. Sarah, you're a massive champion of this sort of strategic approach to transport.
Yeah, Nottingham did something really clever with the parking levy. So they removed and sold all of their public parking and then used that money to put in transport systems instead, making it hard to bring a car into the city. And I've seen that repeated a lot. I was in Oxford on Wednesday and there was no point in even trying to flag down a taxi. The buses were just coming. It was like £1 each. We just hopped on the bus. That's it. We just need convenience and simplicity. And even though it's 5 years away, it doesn't really matter because that's a whole other swathe of generation that will grow up with a public transport system that works. The rest of us will just have to go the hard way round and get used to it.
Now then,
Sorry,
Johnny,
I'm going to disagree with one of the things Sarah just said. 5 years does matter. We got to do it faster.
You sometimes just can't. We've just demonstrated that actually policy takes a long time to get over the line. Investment takes a long time to get over the line. You can accidentally, with a clean air zone or a restrictive scheme like this, you can actually cripple those people who are on a lower earning potential. They have to have time to adjust. So, as you know, I'd like to see a balance for you. 5 years feels like a long time, but wow, does it fly. We were just reflecting on this with the EV industry, 2018 to 2023. Look how far we've come. 5 years is fine. Faster would be better. I'm with you on that. But you can't sometimes just go, do it faster, if you don't see all of the little intricate bits in between.
Well, hopefully that timeline will be able to push back up to government to make them realise how long it's taking the councils to actually create the change.
Yeah. It used to take 10 years, so it takes 5 now.
And that's the point, Sam. I think it's that ding, ding, ding moment where we know that 60% of local authorities don't have an EV strategy in place. Wakey, wakey, people. If you are in a public role and you don't have a strategy for transport to reduce the emissions, to look at congestion charging, to make a difference, then you need to get off your bum, go out, find the right people to talk to get action moving now. The clock is ticking. We ain't got time. Anyway, moving on. A new study suggests that electric vehicles could be the largest contributor to flexible capacity in the electricity grid, and this comes as no surprise. Data captured by MyEnergy, a provider of eco-smart home technology, shows how on-peak EV charging can be flexible. And if you think about it, energy is an ecosystem. Energy, cars, power walls. You generate renewables, it's stored in your vehicle, stored in your home, you use it when you need it, you sell back to the grid when you don't. We can flex watts, the rate of charging, and this is what MyEnergy are able to do. They're able to just turn up or turn down the amount of energy which is going to your vehicle dependent upon demand. And that demand side flexibility is really, really important, isn't it, Sam? I know GridServe are very good at this.
Yes.
In a commercial sense.
Yeah, I mean, My Energy's research there is absolutely on point. It's incredibly important wherever you are, home settings or in industrial settings or commercial settings like ours, where we're generating huge amounts of energy, that it's smart, that we can adapt and get more get cleverer in the way in which we deal with the energy. As Graham Cooper, formerly of National Grid, has said many times, it's not about the amount of energy that we can create. It's about how we use it in an intelligent fashion, and that's the crack.
JB.
So just going to say, whilst you were discussing this, or talking about this, I made some quick calculations, and as you already know, Novena Vehicle Solutions, we are committed to decarbonising our fleet as soon as possible. And currently we have access to just over 100,000 vehicles on our fleet. Therefore, in the future, if all of our vehicles were battery electric vehicles, each with an average capacity of 70 kilowatt hours, this means we can potentially provide up to 7 gigawatts of energy to support the grid. This is, to put this in perspective, it's enough to power 2,500 homes for a year. Therefore, we will become a very serious and important player in the energy market. I'm sure someone with better mathematical skills will correct me there, but was it done in 30 seconds?
Let's move on. Jaguar Land Rover. This is something which fascinates me. 2 years ago, Jaguar Land Rover revealed that it had an intention to become an EV-only brand supplier by 2025. And finally, the car maker has launched its future model lineup. The lineup consists at the moment of just the I-Pace, and it's getting a little bit long in the tooth, and company bosses have remained tight-lipped about what the brand's future might look like. But Jaguar has announced that it will launch an electric 4-door GT car with a 430-mile range and a price tag of around 100,000 of your British pounds by 2025. The car will be the first of 3 new electric Jaguars to hit the road, and production of the new model will take place at JLR's plant in Solihull near Birmingham as part of a wider shake-up of production and factories. Again, this feels like it's a very slow response to what we've known about for years, this change in the makeup of vehicles. But cars take a long time to come to market, don't they, Johnny? And it is understandable that bringing models to the market is a slow process, but others have beaten them to it. Are JLR dragging their heels a bit, do you think?
I'm overall, I'm quite excited about this news story because it targets our petrol heads, and even they will see that electric cars become more prevalent. However, I think that it's very hard for a manufacturer, particularly a legacy manufacturer, to change their direction when they've made prior commitments for a very long period of time. That was associated to the ICE vehicle. But it would be great to hear about more affordable electric cars from major manufacturers, though we must remember that it's not necessarily JLR's target market. I think I would love to see more stories like the recent news from China where the BYD Seagull, size, that can travel 200 miles on a single charge and cost less than £8,000. But I think I would settle for a family hatchback under £25,000 right now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You brought that news story out just as the chat was kicking off about BYD. Obviously, they're going to be, I think, at Fully Charged on Friday next week. That everyone's looking forward to seeing that revealed. And yeah, I do agree with you. It's great. I love the stake in the ground that they've made. I love the fact that it's keeping 4,000 jobs in the UK by pivoting like this. But at the same time, it's kind of the I-Pace was always one of the most sort of expensive ones, and that doesn't seem to be changing.
And Pablo, BYD, what does it stand for?
Build your dreams.
Just as we do here at the EV Cafe. Now then, what are you doing on Sunday? Let's go around the room. Paul, plans for 3 o'clock on Sunday?
Plans for 3 o'clock on Sunday. I'll be turning this off, and I will be enjoying the thoughts of all of the wonderful commercial vehicle news that's come out like this week, like Volta starting the series production. They've committed to 14,000 vehicles a year from the Steyr Automotive plant, which is fantastic. Great to see the Iveco towing with the EV Civils JCB digger on the back of it at the commercial vehicle show. Great to see a new launch from Maxus, the ED. I'm going to be soaking all of this information in from a packed week at the commercial vehicle show.
Brilliant.
John just wanted you to tee up the story about the alarm, I think.
Stop it.
I know, but he asked me a question, I got an answer.
Yeah, no correlation whatsoever, but apart from that... Yeah.
What would I be doing on Sunday at 3 o'clock?
Yes.
Turning this off, correlating, and thinking about something different.
Fans,
There you go.
fans.
Perfectly on message.
Well done, Paul. Good effort. Sam, what will you be doing at 3 o'clock on Sunday?
I'll be thinking about something different.
Always.
Wow, how
Sarah?
insightful.
That's what you said. I'm just repeating what you said. I don't know. But as Paul said, I'll also be turning my phone off, I think, probably. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn my phone off. I want to see what actually happens. But I'm going to be riding my electric motorbike this weekend, I think, rain or shine.
Okay, keep the speed down, Sarah. And JB?
Always.
I'm going to find the busiest place possible and turn my phone volume up loud.
Libraries aren't open on Sundays.
You may be wondering what the heck we're all talking about. Fleets are being urged to make company car and van drivers aware of an emergency alert test on their mobile phones to avoid them being distracted. The siren, which is going off from the UK government, will sound for 10 seconds on almost every smartphone in the UK on Sunday, April the 23rd at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Sunday, there's going to be this annoying noise. Now, let me see if I can very, very quickly...
Not just me.
Right, let's see.
John, is that it?
Are you getting that?
Wow.
Yeah, that's not annoying. So that's going to be coming through every mobile phone in the UK on April 23rd at 3 o'clock. If you have drivers, people who could be distracted by that, you really do need to just let them know it's going to happen because they'll be wondering what's going on in their cabs. Yeah, don't touch your phone, whatever you do, because the police will nick you. You really just got to let it go on. It's only 10 seconds. Behave yourselves. Right, okay. Let's go around the room quickly. Paul, thoughts for the week? Volta, I guess.
Well, no, I mean, the Volta was great. It is great news that they're doing what they're doing. I just think there was a lot of activity in the commercial vehicle world this week, and, that's going to unravel over the coming weeks and months. It's a fantastic time to be in commercial vehicles and accelerating the transition to zero-emission vans.
And the coming week, Johnny, what are we looking forward to?
The coming week, well, actually, Toby Hiles has made a good point in the chat box about Saturday. It's not the coming week, but tomorrow, as it's World Earth Day.
Yeah.
So that's a more important day. So I'll be thinking about that tomorrow and how I can make a positive impact.
You got any thoughts right off the bat? What you might do about World Earth Day?
I don't know. Maybe just to have some time to reflect on myself and what I'm doing. And how much of an impact I'm having on the climate and our Earth. So, but on the following week, it's a very busy week because I'm actually at Great British Fleet event on Tuesday in Milton Keynes, and then it's fully charged at the end of the week.
Yeah, fully charged. I'm going to plant a tree on Saturday, World Earth Day. I'm planting a tree. It's when I was a lad, 1973. There was the phrase. It was plant a tree in 73, and at school we all planted trees. I was 8 years old, and I remember it vividly to this day. It's 23 now, so plant a tree in 23. Sarah, what will you be doing this weekend?
Well, okay, I can run with that. I've got some seeds to put in my garden. Maybe I'll do that on World Earth Day.
Good on you. And Sam, any thoughts? What's the coming week got for you?
Similar to the other guys, fully charged, obviously coming up. So that'll be a good one. So looking forward to that. I do wonder actually if there's any sport that kicks off at 3 o'clock on Sunday in a stadium somewhere in the country. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? That's the thought that sprung to mind about this weekend. And I also will be watching the snooker because I love the World Championship snooker. I'm admitting.
Really?
There you go.
Guilty pleasure.
You heard it here first, people.
Golly jeepers.
Yeah.
Right,
Sam,
we're
going to take up the final
in.
on Saturday. So, oh no, is it? Yeah, on Sunday. Sorry. So that'll be quite good to go to.
Yeah, really looking forward to Fully Charged on Friday. I've got a question for you. Thinking about my school days, 8 years old, I had a nickname. I was called Buggins. It's a long story. I will go to it. Basically because I bugged everybody. What were your nicknames at school? Paul?
Muffin the Mule.
Which is still an offence. Still an offence. Sam?
Muffin the Meal, that's brilliant. I'm going to dine out on that. Mine, well, I had a few, but the main one was Grinner because I smiled a lot.
Well, that's
what changed?
Working with you.
Johnny, what was your school's nickname?
I feel like I'm missing out a bit because I didn't really have a nickname at school.
No friends?
No friends. No friends.
No friends, yeah.
Yeah, they're friends.
That's a time to bone on him for the dog to play with him.
I'm not gonna ask you to give me a nickname, John, after the great transport event when you called me. What was it?
Oh, I can't remember. I've had a sleep since then. Had a head operation.
That series. What was it?
Oh, was it Bungle?
Yeah, Bungle. Yes.
That's gonna
Yours, Saz.
Saz, exactly that. That couldn't have been teed up better. My initials have always been SAS, like army style, and I always did crazy things like cycle to school, and it was ridiculous. So people have always called me Saz.
And Darren Anvona has actually got it right. I was Bilbo Buggins, and I had no idea what Lord of the Rings was in those days when I was 8 years old. Didn't understand it. Everybody else was really intelligent around me, and I was as thick as pig stuff. Anyway, if you've got any clean transport PR or news stories you'd like us to cover, please send them to us at hello@evcafe.org. Until next Friday, it's goodbye from me, it's goodbye from them, and thank you all for being here. You have been amazing as an audience, and thank you so much for all the comments. They've been brilliant. That's where it really happens, and the chat is just wonderful. This has been an EV Cafe production brought to you this week by the ITT Hub, the thinking person's commercial transport show featuring none other than the EV Cafe. Other sustainability news services are available, but this is just funner! As I may have mentioned, the EV Cafe News is brought to you by the ITT Hub and is truly blessed to be partnered with My Energy, Geotab, EV Civil Solutions, the AA, Plug Me In, Spiri, Hydrox, Interval, Karcher UK and McIntyre Hudson. Massive love to you all. Big hugs to all of the people who show up every week on the news. It really, really fills my heart with joy because it could just be 5 lunatics talking about EVs otherwise. We're very grateful. We're the EV Cafe, supporting the transition to cleaner transport. Enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, your alarm at 3 o'clock on Sunday, and wherever your journey takes you. Until next Friday, bye-bye!
Bye!
Bye. Georgia in Catalonia, named after